Yeah. Alright, so this part of this group called Urban Sketchers. Urban Sketchers are, I don't know whether you can see it or not, but they're close to 220 urban sketchers all over the world. And we have this thing called manifestos, some basic set of rules that we follow. As in, like, we go and draw from observation. We go to a location, we look at something, and then we draw as a team together. And we could use pretty much any media. So people are comfortable with pens, pencils, watercolors, you can pretty much crayons, whichever you're comfortable with, you can just go and use it to draw. And we support each other a lot. So this is a very amazing community we have where we help each other. There's experts, there are beginners, there are kids, so we support each other a lot. And all the things that we do, we share online. So while people are drawing, we can see other urban sketches coming and taking pictures, and once we take the pictures, people sharing online, both on Facebook and within the WhatsApp groups. People do it a lot. And this is the tagline. We show the world one drawing at a time. We have one in Hyderabad, and this is one of the recent events that we had where a ton of people joined together. And then there's a Facebook group, Urban Sketchers HYD, where we post regular events that are happening. And we meet every week, either it's a Saturday or a Sunday. And we typically spend like close to 3 hours. And then we sketch from observation, and then after the event, at the tail end of the event, we sit together, we share all the things that we did, and then exchange ideas, and then we depart. So people from various walks come here. So
can you share this slide like after the event?
Sure, I can do that.
Write down the
Sure. So the website also has the events, so you can see we did one at Durgam Cheru, Kumera Village, Kite Festival is interesting, Tree Huggers Carnival. So a lot of events keep happening, a lot of beautiful heritage buildings are around there. We go and visit that place as we do it. So this is one such event that we are doing. So before I get into details, I just want to thank Sanjeev, who runs this place, Kites and Nineties. Can you just take 1 or 2 minutes to talk about this place?
Yeah, so we are learning an activity space. We started in 2017, and since then we've had a lot of workshops. We have year-long programs as well as standalone workshops that we do. We started off with basic Singapore maths and English, and then we moved on to theatre, art. There are a lot of programs that we do for children, but now we started doing programs, especially curated programs for adults as well. So it's basically a learning and activity space for all age groups now. So anybody who wants to teach and learn, both are most welcome. So yeah, that's
thanks a lot. Thanks, Sanjeev. Yeah, my daughter comes here for doing the Singapore math class. So every weekend she sits there and learns the math, and I am sitting here and doing some scribbling, and then just keep sharing. So
I'll share the flyer with you. It's just there. So while you're leaving, you can just pick up the flyer. And visit us on our Facebook page, Kites and Entrance. So we post all the workshops there.
Yeah. So extremely passionate folks, Sanjeev and Neha. I just love what they're doing, and this place is just wonderful. And even the curated set of choices that they make to provide the kind of education is just fantastic. They're extremely passionate folks. So thanks for what you guys do, and then also for providing us the space. Little bit about me. So this is a lovely picture. I just love it because I was sketching in Barcelona, and one of my friends took this picture from the background. But I kind of post all my pictures in Instagram, Srinath_Basarati. You can get these details later on. So I sketch pretty much most of the time. So I just carry this book all the time, things like this. And this is a watercolor palette I was talking to you guys earlier. And then the pen. So folks are sleeping in the train, so I'm sketching while I was traveling in the train. So travel journeys are really fun when you sketch. And this is during the trip, drawing from observations. And you have your own advantages. So when you start sketching, right, so even the cooks allow you to go inside the restaurant, so you don't get access. Because today, pretty much everyone takes pictures, so it's just become very normal if you take a picture with a cell phone. But when you're drawing something, people are really curious about what you're trying to do. So they let you inside the kitchen, and it was really fun. Yeah, this is like a 1894. It's one of the oldest restaurants where they provide hot chocolate in Barcelona. So very fun. Even at bars, so late night when you're at the bar, they had a bunch of crayons. I quickly sketched them of the guy who was doing the bar, and then he gave me a drink for free. So right? So there's a bunch of teenagers who were dancing to some music. So I did a quick sketch, and then they all wanted to take a picture with me and then post it on their Instagram and friends. So it's really fun. It's inside Sagrada Familia, so it's one of the most amazing churches that we have. So I sketched there. You're not supposed. It's funny that you can take pictures, but you cannot sketch. But I kind of like I couldn't resist, so they grabbed all my sketch pens, everything, but I had one hidden behind, so I ended up sketching. Events are also wonderful. The Sankranti festival that we had a bull, and then the guy was entertaining, so it was fun doing quick sketches and taking pictures with them. Lunchtime, it's no longer boring, so I always spend time with the colleagues. If there's no colleague out there, I quickly pull out my sketchbook and sketch the pizza guy doing pizza. Recently, I had to drop my daughter for one of the IEO exams, like International English Olympiad. I was sitting there and all the parents were all like glued to their cell phone all the time, right? So I saw there was another event happening next door, and then there's a guy cutting cabbage and all those things. I did a quick sketch of that. It was really fun. So cabbage, and then just drawing this with just this microns and then the shading pen. So again, another cafeteria sketch. Yeah, this is inside the car. So I was telling some of your folks, right? So stuck in traffic is no longer boring for me. So I carry this thing all the time, and then if I'm stuck in traffic, I do a quick sketch of this. And during the lunchtime, I just did the finishing touches. So, and I want to finally show this picture because it's important. Many of the folks here, as well as even for me personally, as well as other people I talk with, they say that, oh, I used to draw when I was a kid. Now it's finding it hard. I find it too intimidating, and it's hard for me to get back into the grooves, start sketching. One of the wonderful things about kids is they're fearless actually. They just jump in and start doing things, and they don't judge themselves and they don't judge others. So I want you guys to remember this. So this group is fantastic. No one is judging you. You can just get started. You're just on a journey. There's no end to this. So remember this as we start getting to this. All right. So I'll talk about some basics because it's always when you go to a location, when you see something, it's quite overwhelming. There's so many things happening. One of the themes I picked for this talk is how do you interpret a theme that you're looking at it. It could be quite complex and daunting, right? So let's just take one example. I picked one picture that I recently, from my recent trip, Barcelona. And I'll walk you through what the thought process is, how we can break down the scene. You guys can all see the screen. So I really like this alley where you walk through it and then you can see the details. But there's so many details here. There's a lot of windows. There's shops here hanging things. There's tables out, and there's also folks who are walking towards the place. Right? So it's quite complex. And when you tend to draw, or personally, when I was trying to draw, initially I used to. It's just overwhelming. I don't know where to start. There's too many things, and then start putting all the details, and it ends up in a very frustrating experience. So, first take a minute to just quickly look at the scene and understand what are the various elements to it. And when you start spending time, you will observe a lot of details. So, one of the first questions you can ask is, where is the line of horizon, right? So, here's the horizon line. Okay, this is where the point looks like, this line, okay. And what are the big boxes that I particularly see in this image? So I can see there's one here, and then that's pretty much it. I don't want to get into the details. I just want to see what are the big boxes that I'm seeing here, big outlines that I'm noticing, right? So that's the next question you might want to ask. Asking questions is really important because when you ask yourself these questions, your brain starts trying to solve the problem. So if you have this set of questions in your mind in your back pocket, when you start looking at the scene and ask these questions, it kind of triggers you. What are the things you need to go and solve it? So that's how the brain works. So where is the line of origin? Where is the big lines that I'm seeing here? Okay, these are the big lines I'm seeing, big boxes, right? So where is the source of light? So this is really nice. So I can see there's a strong sunlight falling here, and then rest of the things are all kind of pretty much dark, right? There's a nice source of light. Tell me if I'm going too fast, right? So stop me and ask questions also. So, source of light. And okay, now we asked the line, the big boxes, the source of light. What about the angles? Now you can see this set of lines that are going across. Like the windows, the doors, all these things, lines. You can see this is one floor and there's another floor. You can see a line that's separating here. Even though there's a lot of windows and other things, but you can see an imaginary line that is going across, right? So you can see how this things is shaping up. Imagine this is a blank piece of paper, and then you have this set of things, boxes, and then this set of lines, imaginary lines that are going around. Very thin lines. You're not building too many things here, right? So those are all angle lines, converging lines. This fancy term for that is perspectives. The single point, 2 point, 3 point, curvilinear perspectives. It's just too much details. It can get overwhelming. So without worrying about all the details, just simple angle lines. And then these are vertical lines. You can also see some vertical lines. Vertical lines like not this exact vertical, but you can see a tilt to it. So you can also see these things converging up to the top, right? So that's another interesting observation. So going through the list, you have an horizon line, and then you have big boxes, you have a source of light, you have this angle lines, and then you have this vertical, tilted vertical lines, right? You just slowly start observing how you're building things. You can see, notice things. We talked about noticing big things. So at that point, we are deliberately not looking at the smaller details like windows, doors, shops, and all those things. So after going through all the drill of all the 6 steps, the 7th step is where you started noticing small things. Previously, you're deliberately ignoring all the bigger, smaller details. Now we said, okay, let me see what are the smaller details. Now let me look at the windows. Okay, there's one window here, there's 2 people here, there's a bunch of windows, there's 2 tables here, shops here, right? Smaller details. And people are really interesting. So there's 1 person here, there's 2 person here, there's a few more people right in the back. Okay? So people is another thing that you can notice. So after going through all these things, then you ask yourself, no, before I can get started, I cannot draw the whole thing. Yeah, I'm going to draw this thing, but if I'm going to fill it with all the details, then it will be too confusing for the person who's going to see my painting or sketch. So which is one area where I want my people to focus on? You need to ask the question like, what is the focal point? So pretty much, if you go and do look at analysis of all the paintings that people do in the YouTube, you can see that they talk about the focal point. Even though it looks such a big painting, it's quite complex, many things going on, the artists want you to focus at 1 or 2 places, right? So even for your simple, quick sketch, you want to ask yourself, where is the focal point where you want your audience to focus on? So ask that question, keep that in mind, so that this is where you might want to focus on the details. Rest of the things you don't have to go into too much of the details. And that also lends into the style of drawing that you want to do. So if it's hyper-realistic kind of drawing, it will just take forever and then it's get quite intimidating. So this is like a little bit of impressionistic, minimalistic kind of drawing where you just show that impression as to what these images are, but not go into too much of details. This style of drawings that even I was doing all this details here, it kind of, so even if you take this simple example of pizza, right? So you don't see each one of the mushrooms or capsicum or tomato, any of the details, but it kind of show an impression of what it looks like. And then a little bit of shades, and then there's edges that it shows, and then it kind of merges. So there's not too much of detail. So that kind of drawing is a very good thing to get started. it'll easily help you get jump started and start doing things, and then slowly, once you start doing things, even though it looks simple, drawing the simplest thing is one of the most hardest things to do actually. So, there are masters like Monet and other folks who are abstracting it out to the most simplest lines is very complex, but that's a good way to get started. So remember this couple of points that I mentioned here. Okay. So this looks like a very complex scene. If you say that, hey, this is too complex, I'm going to focus only on this part, so I'm going to chop off these two things. So one of the things as an artist you have advantages. You can modify what you're trying to see. Unlike a photograph, you're like bound with what you're trying to see. Later on, you can Photoshop and things like that. But you can decide what you want to have, what you can chop off. So you can say, hey, I'm going to chop off these things, and I am going to see these are the big objects, these are the lights that I'm seeing here, and these are the cars, these are boxes, these are the details. Right? So very, very simplistic way of representing and looking at things. Okay. So let's do a quick, simple exercise. Can you volunteer? It's very simple thing. So just use your pencil. Let's try to see. Let's try to ask this question. Right? Line of horizon. So do you see a line of horizon here? This is the building that we are here actually. So this is a facility. So yeah.
So the horizon line, where I didn't quite get even in the last picture.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by the horizon line?
So where the floor kind of simplistic thing is the same.
This one?
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
This is the horizon line.
Yeah. Big boxes and outlines that you're noticing.
Yeah. So this is one big box.
Yeah.
This whole thing is a big box.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is a big box here.
Perfect.
And there is one here.
Yes.
Minimalism.
Yeah, that's good. So I think even the fact that you're thinking along those lines itself is just your life is becoming much easier actually. It's not daunting that when you compared to what you see in the past, every single detail is visible, right? So now you've gotten past that.
Correct.
Okay. What about light?
Light. So
ask, look for where the shadows are. Maybe you can say where potentially the sun could be. This is a little tricky. You don't have a strong source of light
that's
here.
right. This is
But at least you can see there's a shadow here, there's a shadow
There's a
here,
shadow here, yeah.
shadow here. Maybe it's somewhere around down up there.
on the top.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a bit of, looks like an overcast or something.
Right.
There's a bit of a source here. This neon light.
Right.
Specialist.
Right.
There is some light here.
Yes.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah. Those are yeah. Angle lines of windows, doors, and buildings. Do you see any of those things? Can you just see? Or? Yeah. We talked about perspectives and other things, right? So, but do you see any angle lines here?
Let's see. So angle lines are like these floors are angle lines.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You got it.
So these ones
Yeah.
that divides this building.
Yeah. So you can see these things, these things point to an angle here. So this window, it goes like this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that could be thought of like one of, this is flat straight out
This is
here.
a flat straight.
But then this building on the side view of this building, just you can see it just pointing like this, right? So that could be thought of an angle lines, okay? What about the other smaller details, medium details, like not going too much of details, right? Medium details, like you can see this particular big chunk of window.
Fitness.
Yeah, big chunk of window.
There's a big chunk of window here.
Yeah,
Then there's cars.
Yeah.
They what are those details?
Yeah.
These cars.
yeah. And then you see a plant here.
There's a plant here.
There's two plants here.
There's two bushes here.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, there's one person standing here, one people.
people, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The focal point. I guess that's up to the
Up to the person who wants to do it.
It
Yeah,
can be anything.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, thanks. Want to try this one? Yeah.
Sir, can you discuss about focal point a bit further?
So when you after you draw the whole picture, there's so much of details in the previous one. So there's this building, there's building behind this, and then there's trees here, and then there's floor here, and then within this bank here, you can see there's stairs here. So if you say that your biggest detail that you want to have, where people want to focus on, is only this part of it, then you're going to blur all other lines in your painting actually. So blurring all other places where you just representatively, you just give a big wash in your painting, you just give a big purple wash here. And then even this windows that you're seeing here, you're not going to draw exact all the things. You're just going to give a smudge of a grey color here. There's just smudges of lines. There's no details here. But only here you will start giving this grey tones and then this probably red background with some text also. So you're providing details of text here. Let's say there was text here, you're not going to show any of this text. So you want people to focus here, you don't want people to focus at other places. So that's where the focal point is. Was it helpful? Okay. Let's quickly ask this line of horizon.
Line of horizon would be around here.
Yep. Yeah.
And,
Big boxes that you see.
this would be a big box for me.
Yep.
And the second one.
Yep.
And we just want to ignore this one and this one.
Uh-huh.
And then the angles flow like this.
You also have this boxes here. You have this boxes here. You have this one box, right? Yeah.
For the building here,
Mm-hmm.
and then this one.
That's it.
So all these control here
Yep.
to this point.
Yep.
So I have few points, few vertical lines standing here,
Yes.
just to make it mark. And these vertical lines, all these control.
Yes. Yeah, you can see all these things pointing to this angles here, right? So, and then this one pointing here, right? So, it's interesting when you observe it. You can see this one and then
Now
this.
this point very near to
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Yeah. Thanks. So now you want to try? Give the count. It's okay. Come. I'll help you come. Show where the ground is. See where the ground is. Yeah. This one, right? This whole thing is nice, right? What about the next question? Do you guys remember what's the next question to ask? Source of big boxes. Okay. There's one box here, and then there's trees there, right? Like this thing, right? And then you can see this small piece of grass. So this is another big box, right? Okay. Source of light. Where do you see the light coming from? Yes, the sunlight is coming from here, and you can see the shadows here, right? And the shadow of this building. Okay. What other things?
Angles.
Angles. Do you see any angles? Lines? This is a line, okay. You can see this particular crane that is standing here. There's a line here, right? And then these lines. This is very simplistic picture, but